So I'm sitting at home last Tuesday, just minding my own business and watching Netflix, when my phone rings. It's Mom. Now, my parents don't call me that often unless something's up, so I'm already feeling a little weird about it. "Stacy, honey, you need to come over tomorrow," Mom says, and I can hear this excitement in her voice that I don't really understand. "What's going on?" I ask. "Your sister's back. Abby came home yesterday from California. She's staying with us now, and we really want you to come see her." I haven't seen Abby in like 2 years. She moved to California right after high school when she married her husband Jake. They seemed happy enough from what I could tell through her Facebook posts, but honestly, we were never that close growing up. Abby was always the wild one, staying out late, sneaking out of the house, getting into trouble at school. Meanwhile, I was the boring one who actually did her homework and came home by curfew. "Is everything okay?" I ask Mom. "Why is she back?" "Just come over tomorrow after work, sweetheart. We'll explain everything then." So the next day I drive over to my parents' house. It's this little ranch-style place where I grew up, and honestly, nothing ever changes there. Same ugly brown carpet, same family photos on the walls, same smell of Mom's vanilla candles everywhere. I walk in and there's Abby sitting on the living room couch like she owns the place. She looks exactly the same, long blonde hair, too much makeup, wearing some tight dress that probably costs more than my monthly grocery budget. She jumps up and gives me this big fake hug. "Stacy, oh my God, I've missed you so much." Yeah, right. If she missed me so much, maybe she would have called me sometime in the past 2 years instead of just posting pictures of her fancy California life on social media. "Hi Abby," I say. "Mom said you're staying here now?" That's when Mom jumps in with this big announcement. "Yes, Abby's going to be living with us for a while. She got divorced from Jake." I look at Abby, and she's just sitting there with this weird calm expression on her face, like getting divorced is no big deal. "Oh, I'm sorry," I say, because that's what you're supposed to say when someone gets divorced, right? What happened? Abby shrugs. "Jake came home at the wrong time and caught me with someone else. He totally overreacted and filed for divorce right away. Then he kicked me out of the house." I'm staring at her because I can't believe she just said that so casually. Like, she cheated on her husband and she's acting like it's his fault for being upset about it. "He threw me out with just my clothes and my car," Abby continues. "Can you believe that? I mean, yeah, I was with another guy, but these things happen. It's not like the world ended or anything. Jake didn't have to make such a huge deal about it." I look over at my parents, expecting them to be shocked or at least a little disapproving, but they're just nodding along like this is all perfectly normal. "The poor thing," Mom says, patting Abby's hand. "She's been through such a terrible ordeal. Jake turned out to be a real jerk," Dad adds. "Good thing she found out now instead of wasting more years with him." I'm sitting there thinking I must be in some alternate universe where cheating on your spouse is considered normal behavior and the victim is the bad guy. "So what are you going to do now?" I ask Abby. "Well, I've been seeing a therapist," she says. "Dr. Martinez has been really helpful. He says I need to focus on my mental health right now and do things that will help me recover from this trauma." Trauma? She cheated on her husband and she's calling it trauma? Dr. Martinez thinks I should take a cruise to Europe. He says traveling is really therapeutic and it would help me process everything that's happened. There's this amazing 14-day cruise that goes to Italy, France, and Spain. It's perfect. "That sounds expensive," I say. "It's only $20,000, Abby says like that's pocket change. And honestly, after everything I've been through, I deserve it." Mom turns to me with this serious look on her face. "Stacy, we really think you should help your sister pay for this trip." "What?" I say. "You have that money saved up for your apartment down payment," Mom continues. "And Abby's psychological health is so much more important than buying property right now. She really needs this." I just stare at them for a minute because I can't believe what I'm hearing. $20,000 for a cruise? Because Abby got caught cheating and her husband rightfully kicked her out? Are you all completely insane? I finally say. I'm not paying for Abby's vacation. Mom's face gets all red and she starts talking in that high-pitched voice she uses when she's really mad. Stacy Marie, your sister has been through a terrible tragedy. The least you can do is help her during this difficult time. What tragedy? I say. She cheated on her husband. That's not a tragedy, that's a choice she made. Abby starts tearing up, which is her go-to move whenever she wants sympathy. Stacy, you don't understand how hard this has been for me. My whole life fell apart. I lost my home, my marriage, everything. You lost those things because you decided to sleep with someone who wasn't your husband, I tell her. Don't be so judgmental, Dad says. These things are complicated. Marriage isn't easy. I look around the room at all of them and I feel like I'm going crazy. Since when did my family become okay with adultery? Since when did cheating on your spouse become something that deserves a reward vacation? I'm not paying for this ridiculous cruise, I say, standing up. And I can't believe you all think this is reasonable. I walk out of there and drive home, and the whole time I'm thinking about how messed up this whole situation is. But it's not really surprising when I think about it. Abby has always been the favorite, and she's always gotten away with everything. When we were kids, Abby would do whatever she wanted. She'd sneak out of the house at night to go to parties. She'd skip school to hang out with her friends. She'd come home drunk at 16 and Mom would just put her to bed and make her soup the next morning. Meanwhile, if I came home 5 minutes past curfew, I'd get grounded for a week. Abby is just more outgoing and emotional, Mom would always say. She needs more freedom to express herself. You're different, Stacy. You're more introverted and controlled. What she really meant was that Abby was the fun daughter and I was the boring one. Abby got attention for being wild and unpredictable, while I got ignored for being responsible and reliable. After high school, Abby didn't even try to go to college. She met Jake at some party, and 6 months later they were married and moving to California. Everyone acted like it was so romantic, but I thought she was just running away from responsibility like she always did. For 2 years I barely heard from her except for her social media posts showing off her perfect life with her handsome husband and their nice house. She never called or visited. But now that her perfect life blew up because of her own bad choices, suddenly she's back and expecting everyone to feel sorry for her. I spend the rest of the week trying to forget about the whole thing. I figure my parents will realize how crazy they're being once they think about it for a while. There's no way they actually expect me to hand over $20,000 so Abby can go on a European cruise. But then they call me again the next Sunday. Stacy, we need to have a serious talk, Mom says. Can you come over today? Against my better judgment, I drive over there again. This time Abby is sitting at the kitchen table with a bunch of cruise brochures spread out in front of her and her laptop open. Look what I found, she says, all excited. There's this amazing cruise line called Royal Mediterranean, and they have the perfect trip. 14 days, 5 countries, and it includes all meals and entertainment. I've already talked to the travel agent and she can book it for next month. That's great, Abby, I say. I hope you have fun paying for it yourself. Stacy, don't be difficult, Mom says. We've already talked about this. You need to help your sister. Actually, I have some news, I tell them. I bought my apartment this week. I signed all the papers on Thursday and I've already moved most of my stuff in. So even if I wanted to help Abby, which I don't, I can't. I spend all my savings on the down payment. The silence in the room is deafening. Mom's mouth is hanging open, Dad looks shocked, and Abby just stares at me like I grew a second head. Then all hell breaks loose. How dare you, Mom starts screaming. How dare you spend that money without telling us? We specifically told you that Abby needed help. You never asked me before spending your savings, Dad yells. You just went ahead and bought an apartment while your sister is suffering. Abby starts crying these big dramatic tears. I can't believe you did this to me, Stacy. I'm going through the worst time of my life and you just bought yourself a nice apartment. You're going to be living it up in your new place while I'm stuck here trying to recover from my trauma. I never agreed to pay for your trip, I say, trying to stay calm. I've been saving that money for 3 years to buy my own place. Why should I give it to you so you can go on vacation? Because I'm your sister, Abby screams. Because I need help right now. You need help, all right, I say, but not the kind that comes from a cruise ship. Mom stands up and points at the door. Get out, she says, just get out of this house right now. Fine, I say. And don't come back, Mom continues. If you can't help your own family when they need you, then you're not our daughter anymore. I look at Dad, thinking maybe he'll say something reasonable, but he just sits there nodding along with Mom. Fine, I say again, if that's how you want it. And I walk out of there for the second time, except this time I know I'm not coming back. For 2 weeks after that disaster at my parents' house, I don't hear from any of them. Not a single phone call, text message, or email. It's actually kind of peaceful, to be honest. I'm settling into my new apartment, arranging furniture, and enjoying the quiet. No drama, no demands for money, no guilt trips about being a terrible daughter. I'm starting to think maybe this is for the best. Maybe I'm better off without people who think I owe them my life savings just because we share DNA. But then, at 7 in the morning on a Sunday, someone starts pounding on my door like the building is on fire. I stumble out of bed in my pajamas, thinking it's probably an emergency or something. I look through the peephole and there's Abby standing in the hallway with 2 huge suitcases and a bunch of shopping bags. I open the door and she pushes right past me into my apartment. Thank God you're here, she says, dropping her bags right in my living room. I wasn't sure if you'd moved in yet. What are you doing here? I ask. How did you even find my address? I got it from cousin Lisa, she saw your Facebook post about the new place. Abby flops down on my couch like she owns it. Listen, I need to stay here for a while. What? No, absolutely not. Stacy, please, I have nowhere else to go. Living with Mom and Dad is driving me completely insane. They watch everything I do, they ask a million questions every time I leave the house, they want to know who I'm texting and where I'm going. It's like being in prison. I cross my arms. That's what happens when you move back in with your parents as an adult. They're treating me like I'm 16 again, Abby whines. I can't have any kind of personal life there. I can't even bring a friend over without them interrogating me about it. And Dad keeps giving me these lectures about responsibility and making better choices. It's torture. So get your own place. With what money? I don't have a job yet, and Jake cleaned out our joint bank account before I could get to it. I'm completely broke. I look at her designer purse and her expensive-looking clothes. You don't look broke. These are old things from when I was married. Look, I just need a few months to get back on my feet. I'll find a job, save up some money, and then I'll get my own apartment. Please, Stacy. I'm begging you here. She actually gets down on her knees right there in my living room, which is so dramatic and ridiculous that I almost start laughing. I'll even get on my knees and beg if that's what it takes, she says, grabbing onto my arm. Please let me stay here. I promise I'll be the perfect roommate. I'll help with cleaning and groceries and everything. Against every instinct in my body, I feel myself giving in. Maybe it's because she looks genuinely desperate, or maybe it's because I've always been a sucker when it comes to helping people, even when they don't deserve it. Fine, I say, but just for a few months, and you better start looking for a job immediately. Oh my God, thank you so much, Abby jumps up and hugs me. You're the best sister ever, I promise you won't regret this. Famous last words. So Abby moves into my spare bedroom, and for the first week everything seems okay. She's actually pretty helpful around the apartment. She does dishes, she vacuums, she even cooks dinner a couple of times. I'm starting to think maybe this won't be so bad after all. Then I have to go on a business trip to Chicago for a week. It's this big conference for my company, and I can't get out of it. I tell Abby I'll be gone from Monday to Friday, and she says that's fine, she'll take care of everything. Don't worry about anything, she says, I've got it all under control. I should have known right then that something was going to go wrong. When I get back on Friday evening, I'm exhausted from traveling and I just want to relax in my own apartment. I put my key in the lock and open the door, and I can hear voices coming from the living room, male and female voices. I walk in and there's Abby sitting on my couch with some guy I've never seen before. They're watching TV and eating takeout Chinese food like they're an old married couple. Hey Stacy, Abby says, all cheerful. You're back early, how was your trip? I'm staring at this strange man in my apartment. He's probably in his 30s, kind of scruffy looking, wearing a wrinkled t-shirt and jeans. He's got his feet up on my coffee table and he's eating out of one of my good bowls. Who is this? I ask. Oh, this is Marcus, Abby says casually. Marcus, this is my sister Stacy. Marcus waves at me with a mouth full of lo mein. Hey there. Nice place you got here. What is he doing in my apartment? I ask Abby. Well, funny story, Abby says, and I can already tell I'm not going to like where this is going. Marcus had some housing issues this week, so I told him he could crash here for a while. Housing issues? Marcus swallows his food and grins at me. My ex-wife kicked me out when she found out about me and Abby. Women, right? They get so emotional about these things. It takes me a second to process what he just said. Wait. You're the guy Abby was cheating with? That's such an ugly word, Abby says. Marcus and I fell in love. It's not our fault that we were both married to other people at the time. I look back and forth between them, and now you're both living in my apartment? Just temporarily, Abby says quickly. Until we can find our own place. We're looking at apartments this weekend, Marcus adds. There are some really nice places for rent in this neighborhood. I feel like my head is going to explode. Get out. What? Abby says. Both of you, get out of my apartment right now. Stacy, don't be unreasonable, Abby says. Where are we supposed to go? I don't care, you're both adults with jobs, figure it out. Actually, I'm between jobs right now, Marcus says. The economy is really tough. I said get out, I yell, I'm not running a homeless shelter here. Abby starts getting all indignant. You can't just throw us out on the street. We have nowhere to go. You have 2 incomes between you, I tell them. You can rent your own place. We need time to save up money for a deposit, Abby argues. Then go back to Mom and Dad's house. They won't let Marcus stay there. That's your problem, not mine. You have 1 hour to pack your stuff and leave, or I'm calling the police. Marcus stands up. Come on, babe, let's go. We don't need this drama. They spend the next hour packing and complaining about how unfair I'm being, but I don't care. I just want them out of my space. After they leave, I spend the rest of the evening cleaning the apartment and trying to forget about this whole mess. I'm so tired and stressed from everything that I just focus on scrubbing down surfaces and doing laundry to get my mind off things. After Abby and Marcus left, I thought that was the end of it. I figured they'd go back to my parents' house or find some other place to stay, and I could finally have some peace in my own apartment. For a few days, everything seemed normal. But then weird things started happening. The first thing I noticed was my favorite pair of diamond earrings. They were expensive ones I'd bought myself for my birthday last year, and I always kept them in the same spot on my dresser. One evening I was getting ready to go to a party and I went to put them on, but they weren't there. I searched everywhere, thinking maybe I'd moved them somewhere else and forgotten about it. I tore apart my jewelry box, checked all my drawers, even looked under the bed. Nothing. I convinced myself that I must have misplaced them somehow. Maybe I'd put them in a different spot when I was rushing to get ready for work one morning. It seemed weird, but I couldn't think of any other explanation. A few days later, I couldn't find my expensive watch. It was this really nice Citizen watch that cost me almost $1,000, and I'd worn it to work every day for the past 2 years. I always put it on my nightstand before bed, but one morning it just wasn't there. Again, I searched the entire apartment, but it was nowhere to be found. Now I was starting to get suspicious, but I still tried to rationalize it. Maybe I'd left it at the gym or forgotten it in my car. I checked both places multiple times, but no luck. The third incident really got my attention. I had bought this gorgeous black evening dress for a work event that was coming up. It still had the tags on it and everything, hanging in my closet. When I went to get it out the night before the event, it was gone. This time I knew for sure that I hadn't misplaced it somewhere. Someone had taken it. That's when I remembered something from childhood. I've always been a saver, ever since I was little. When I was a kid, I used to put $5 in a piggy bank every week from my allowance. Now that I'm making good money, I keep up the same habit but with bigger amounts. Every week I put a $100 bill in this decorative box that I keep on my dresser. It's not my main savings account or anything, just extra cash for emergencies or impulse purchases. I went straight to the box and counted the money. I usually had about $1,500 in there, but now there was only $700. $800 was missing, and when I checked my jewelry box more carefully, I realized one of my rings was gone too. I sat down on my bed and tried to think through everything logically. The only people who had been in my apartment recently were Abby and Marcus. And Abby still had the key I'd given her when she first moved in. In all the chaos of kicking them out, I'd completely forgotten to ask for it back or change the locks. I decided to set up a hidden camera to catch whoever was stealing from me. I ordered one online and had it delivered the next day. It was a tiny thing that looked like a phone charger, and I positioned it so it had a clear view of my dresser and jewelry box. 3 days later, I checked the footage on my phone during my lunch break at work. What I saw made my stomach drop. There was Abby, clear as day, walking into my bedroom like she owned the place. She went straight to my money box, opened it up, and took out several bills. Then she started going through my jewelry and clothes, eventually stuffing one of my blouses into a bag she'd brought with her. The whole thing took maybe 10 minutes, and she acted completely casual about it, like she was just shopping in her own closet. I felt sick watching it. Part of me had suspected it was her, but seeing the actual proof was devastating. My own sister was stealing from me. I saved the video to my phone and drove straight to my parents' house. Abby's car was parked in the driveway, so I knew she was there. When I walked in, I found all 4 of them sitting in the living room: Mom, Dad, Abby, and Marcus. They were watching TV and eating popcorn like one big happy family. I pulled out my phone and showed them the video without saying a word. Everyone watched in silence as Abby casually robbed me on the small screen. Abby's face turned bright red, but she tried to play it off. I wasn't stealing anything, I just went to get some of my things that I'd left there. Your things were in my money box? I asked. She didn't have an answer for that. Mom started lecturing me about how I shouldn't be accusing my sister of terrible things, but I cut her off. I told Abby she had 1 week to return everything she'd stolen from me, the money, the jewelry, the clothes, all of it. If she didn't, I was taking the video to the police. Mom and Dad were furious with me for threatening their precious daughter, but I didn't care anymore. I estimated that Abby had stolen about $10,000 worth of stuff from me over the past few weeks, and I wanted it all back. A week later, I got a bank transfer for exactly $10,000 from my mother's account. Along with it came a text message telling me that they never wanted to see me again and that I was no longer part of their family. That was fine with me. I was done with all of them. Over the next few weeks, I heard through my aunt that Abby and Marcus had moved in with my parents permanently. Apparently they'd convinced Mom and Dad that they needed a stable place to live while they got back on their feet. About a month after that, Mom called me out of the blue. Her voice was shaky and she sounded desperate. Abby and Marcus took all the money from my credit cards and disappeared, she said. They ran up $50,000 in debt and now I can't find them anywhere. The bank is demanding payment and your father and I don't have that kind of money. You have to help us. I almost laughed. That's not my problem, you should call the police. But she's family, Mom pleaded. No, I said, she's your family. You made that very clear when you chose her over me. And I hung up. Maya told me later that Mom calls Abby constantly, begging her to come back and pay the money, but Abby just tells her that Mom would never actually turn her own daughter into the police. They fight about it every day now, and Dad even had a heart attack from all the stress. I guess my parents are finally getting to experience what it's really like to have Abby in their lives full time. They wanted her close by instead of living far away in California, and now they're getting exactly what they asked for. Sometimes you really do get what you deserve.